This is a laboratory. And these are the guinea pigs. A movable feast of support vehicles tending a flock of highly tuned rally cars driven by a multinational pack of professionals. This high-performance band of gypsies tests itself and its constituent parts to the limit of human endeavour and endurance under constantly changing conditions, a set of arbitrary hurdles that even Machiavelli could scarcely have devised. A fascinating, absorbing world. In 1982, Shell chose to test a new product in this brave, harsh world. They chose the British Open Rally Championship and selected top drivers and teams to mete out this ultimate test.
In today's rallying, except for rallies like Safari and Ivory Coast, you really go flat out from the start.
You don't know what's going to happen to other people, whether they're going to have punctures, and you've got to be there to grab whatever opportunities arise, plus you've got to push people into making mistakes if possible. So the answer is flat out.
How are you going to pace yourself?
Flat out.
Every event now in the British Championship is a sprint event. I mean, even the RAC is treated as that now. I don't know, modern technology, everything's getting better, cars are far superior. I just don't know where it's going to end, really.
The new product, a semi-synthetic multigrade oil, had already proved itself in the laboratory. The championship would provide every drop of practical proof. If the new oil could stand supreme while mishaps and misadventure plagued the brave and the brilliant, then it would finally be ready to meet the challenge and the standards of Britain's everyday motorists. What laboratory could possibly be better equipped to prove the new product than this championship? A test that takes both driver and car to the very limit and beyond.
Yeah, we just landed very heavily and just bounced off the road. As simple as that.
World champion Vartanen had been showing his peers just why he held that title. In an outdated, privately entered Escort, he'd been keeping the Manx Meisters at bay in tremendous style. On the all-tarmac Manx International, there's simply no margin for error on the tortuous, twisting public roads closed for the duration of the rally. The roads, practiced by the drivers, are narrow, between high banks, bumpy and cambered. The strain on engines and transmissions is perhaps higher than anywhere else in this exhausting contest of man and machine. Vartanen's principal challengers had only occasionally seemed capable of matching and rarely surpassing his performance. The Rothmans Opals, widely tipped to set the pace, found themselves fighting for second and third. Terry Cabey in his Vauxhall Chevette was also well up in the chase, and his teammate Russell Brooks wasn't far behind.
We're lying third now. We've had a few dramas today. As you know, we had the selector's brake and the gearbox on the first special stage, and we managed to fix that, which dropped us to fifth. Terry retired with a broken camshaft, which put us straight back up to 4th. And Harry rolled, which put us back up to 3rd. I think crashes are one of the facts of life of rallying, you know, particularly on an event like this, which is so incredibly fast. And where you're using the stages so many times, you're going to be squeezing the very last inch out of the road, and you know, I think it's inevitable. There are going to be some quite high-speed accidents, particularly on the 5th and 6th times through the same stages.
After briefly holding the lead, Toivonen was next to succumb to the relentless pressure of this high-speed event, crashing the big Ascona out of the rally. Brooks, in the smaller Chevette, perhaps more suited to the narrow lanes, has moved into 2nd. While Bertie Fisher, without the backup of a works team, was a surprising 3rd in his Ford Escort. Disappointment at the rally was Hannu Mikkola, his Audi Quattro beset with mechanical problems. McRae continued to hold the lead, and no matter what the weather conditions, the pace never slackened. Unable to make any impression on the leader, Brooks had to be content with 2nd. Victory on the Manx gave Shell and Opel the manufacturer's title and confirmed the Scotsman as the 1982 British Open champion. But getting there had not been easy.
I think to retain the championship, you know, it was really fantastic. We thought with the accident in the Welsh, that was it.
The Epynt military ranges in South Wales bear silent witness to the fact that even the best make mistakes. The Welsh Rally presents both a different form of terrain and challenge. The forest tracks are driven without any previous practice. Engines, gearboxes and axles take an almighty pounding. The driving style here has to be loose and fluent to keep the car pointing in roughly the right direction as different unexpected corners unfold before the driver. Four-wheel drive is a distinct advantage on any loose surface, and Bjorn Baldegard uses his Quattro's traction to good effect, winning the rally in a car he'd never previously sat in. Henry Toivonen brings the more conventional Ascona home in 2nd. Swedish ace Stig Blomqvist in a Talbot Sunbeam is a jubilant 3rd. But for McRae, there's only the quiet speculation of what went wrong.
We had done the stage once or twice before it. I think the competitive spirit, you just try that bit harder each time, and we hit a bump wrong, and you know, the car ended up 100 yards up the road after having rolled 2 or 3 times.
I mean, everything gets, you know, sort of stressed to the limit when you're driving at 11/10 the whole time. So you need, you know, you need a very special oil for, which has been developed. I mean, I think they're still in the process of developing that sort of thing. You know, it's essential to have everything sort of A1 before you start, really.
Preparation is everything. Every part must be perfect, from vital suspension bolts to the oil in the dry sump tank. Only the reckless would ever cut corners.
After every event, I mean, the engine, the transmission, everything is stripped, all faulty parts replaced or everything checked over, and all new suspension for every event.
The highly tuned hand-built engine that will fill this space is destined for one of the toughest tests of the Open Championship. The Circuit of Ireland. 5 days of flat-out driving over every sort of byway. Most of these roads were designed for a horse and cart, not for an angry, full-blooded rally car. They present the sort of mechanical punishment that man can only generate out in the field. And sometimes the drivers are left stranded exactly there, as Terry Cabey found out to his cost.
just trying to cut a corner up a little bit too tight and clip the wall on the inside, and it just lifted the car and put it in the edge, and it rolled backwards into the road. Bent the suspension quite bad, and I don't think there's much chance of actually getting it mobile again.
Every 4 hours, must get an X-ray tonight, and he's had one night. Had 2.
Damage also occasionally extends to the crew. Henry Toivonen has trapped his wrist in a violently spinning steering wheel following his car's impact with a wall. A bone is cracked. Painkillers and the determination to soldier on are the dual remedies. There are still 800 miles to go. The Circuit of Ireland is the longest single struggle in this absorbing and grueling series, a marathon tarmac trek around the narrow country lanes of both Northern and Southern Ireland. The challenge here is to maintain high speed and maximum concentration over long distances. Unlike the tarmac tests of the Manx, these roads are driven completely blind, and Vartanen doesn't know what's coming next. The pace is relentless. Everything must work 100%, or there will surely be disaster in store. Twice winner of the circuit, Jimmy McRae, was again setting the blistering pace that everyone else had to follow. Vartanen stays in touch with the leader, but his bid for victory is soon over. His car damaged on a jump, dropping him to 7th. Brooks is moving up the field, but the Quattro, without its loose surface advantage, is again proving disappointing. Despite his broken hand, Toivonen shows true determination and brings his battered Opel to the finish in 3rd place. Brooks is 2nd, after a drive which saw his Chevette move progressively up the leaderboard, while McRae makes it a hat-trick on the toughest event in the British Open Series. Scotland, the first stage, and trouble already for Mikkola. The Quattro breaks its steering, and Vartanen brakes just a little too late. This rally starts on tarmac, but it soon changes.
One event in particular which is very rough is the Scottish rally. You always tend to set your cars about an inch higher ride height than anywhere else in the UK, because, I mean, it is very, very rough.
Blomqvist in his Talbot Sunbeam is again in superb form. The pace is furious, and a particularly slippery corner catches out Terry Cabey. His Vauxhall takes what feels like hours to restart. For McRae, the Scottish is home territory, a rally he desperately wants to win. And Vartanen's pace sometimes goes beyond the realms of what even he can achieve. Next, it's McRae's turn. It's mistakes like these which can separate the winners from the also-rans. These Scottish forest tracks are notoriously hard on transmissions. There's no smooth way to tackle a corner. Vartanen, in his outdated Escort, seemed to hold all the aces, and it was all the others could do to stay in touch with the flying Finn. Mikkola's Quattro, favourite for the event, had so far not shown due to early problems. And by the halfway stage, despite his own problems, Vartanen still held the lead.
We had no problems throughout the night. We were leading by nearly a minute this morning. And of course the fact that Hannu was further down the field, you know, it was much easier for us then. then we had the half shaft going and lost a minute, and now we are only leading by 20 seconds. And again today we had no other problems.
Who's chasing you now then, Harry?
Stig Blomqvist is chasing very well indeed. He's doing very well. He's the most serious one.
Do you know how far behind Vatanen you are?
Yeah, I think it's about 40 seconds now again.
Why has it dropped back? Why have you dropped back a little?
Yeah, the last stage here, it's only the first car who can go through there, and then the road is so rough.
Vatanen seemed to be heading for a sensational win until suddenly he saw the other side of the sport.
Prop shaft broke, or coupling of a prop shaft broke, and you have no drive. That's the end of the rally.
What actually happened? You were sort of bombing down that straight and just...
No, well, just suddenly the back end of the car, lifting up because the front of the prop shaft was touching the ground, so that was lifting the back end of the car up, and so I knew it. That's it.
Blomqvist inherits the lead, the Talbot Sunbeam's engine hitting maximum revs down the long straights. However, he too is to become another victim of the rough Scottish tracks, and together with his co-driver can only look on as the mechanics struggle to repair the damage. Do you think they're going to be able to fix it?
No, I don't think so.
It's pretty bad, is it?
Yeah.
That's a tragedy because you were in the lead.
That's rallying.
Mikkola sees his chance and storms up through the field to a superb victory.
On a British Forest event, a four-wheel drive at the moment is far superior, but you get a lot of events on the continent and the asphalt events where a conventional layout is probably better. So really, I mean, an ideal car is a good compromise, but at the moment there doesn't seem to be. There's one car dominates one event and another car dominates another.
Shell's Open Championship victory was proof positive for their new oil. But the story doesn't end there. Development continues constantly. New cars, new ideologies are always at the forefront. Two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, or mid-engined. There's no one solution. Merely an examination of the broken parts, an idea of the new, and a hope that the newest will also be the best. Manufacturers will continue to extend the boundaries of testing. For instance, the UK's best-selling car, the front-wheel drive Escort, benefits from a motorsport future. And in this way, new rally cars take shape, striving to improve on the old and to put theory into practice. New, more sophisticated cars, developments of chassis, engine and ancillaries, which will do battle next season. Cars which will extend our ideas once again. And Shell will be there to meet this new challenge, for the race continues.